Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today I want to review and react to 7 Principles to Get Your Ex Back by Corey Wayne. This has got 1.4 million views. 7 years old, I believe. It's a classic. I've watched it before. I think it's a good one, but I think it's a good one to review now in 2022 and take a fresh look at it. And let's just see what you think in the comments if this stuff's still relative 7 years later, because let's face it, things have changed from 7 years ago. So let's get into it.
Strongest negotiating position in any personal or professional human interaction is being able to walk away and mean it. If you got dumped by a lover who you wanted to keep in your life, you must state what you want and then walk away and never look back. If they care or still have any romantic feelings for you, they will reach out in the future. If that happens, simply focus on creating a great date. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. Do not focus on a relationship commitment or dating labels. It must be their idea to become exclusive when you are the one who got dumped. If you dump them but now want them back, contact them, apologize for being an ass, and tell them you would like to see them. Make a date. If they won't make a date, tell them to call you if they change their mind and walk and never look back. You always must give an ex-lover the freedom, choice, space, and time to decide to see you romantically again. That is why continually contacting them to change their mind is the weak position and will never work. So let's go through the first bullet point here.
So really quick, that's the essence of what he's going to be talking about. You don't want to press to get back together. You want to hang out, hook up, have a good time, which is at the core of his work. It's very simplistic in a lot of ways, and I mean that in a good way. The simplicity of some of the things he explains, it's easy to follow. Hang out, hook up, have a good time. Don't press, don't chase. What I like is that he mentions you broke up with her. It counts what the scenario is. So when you're getting advice like this, what's your story? What happened to you directly? And I'm always going to come back to this in my own coaching. The best advice is tailored advice. What do I mean by tailored advice? Tailored advice means get someone to get their take on your situation. Even if the breakup has some similarities to other people's breakups, the interpretations are going to be different. I said that twice for a reason, because it's absolutely true, and it's actually what's going to shape how you approach getting your ex back. I'll come back to that again, but let's get back to this video.
And I'm just going to go through and read these because I've got the bullet points and then there's some text that I wrote, and so I want to make sure that I cover the things specifically that are the most important. There's basically 13 different bullet points that I've come up with here. We'd say it's lucky 13, of course. So the first one is, this is what you do if you're the one who got dumped, obviously not by your choice. You must communicate that you do not accept being friend-zoned or no longer being together, but instead want to continue seeing them. If they are unwilling to continue seeing you or give you another chance, you tell them to get in touch with you if they ever change their mind. You must let them go forever and never contact them again for any reason. You must never, under any circumstances, agree to being friends only. It's romance, or you're simply not interested. Number 2, walk and never look back. This is the strongest negotiating position in any professional or human interaction. Once you have stated what you want, but they are unwilling to give it to you, just like if you're trying to negotiate a deal on a car and they're like, nah, I'm not going to do this, you got to be willing to walk away. You tell them to contact you if they ever change their mind, but you are not interested in anything platonic, and to please not contact you unless they are interested in something romantic ever again. Walking and never looking, and that's what I call, that's speaking your purpose. That's what you want. You want to get back together.
So Corey Wayne's going to come back to this again and again. He has a business background. He was in real estate. He often references this part of his life. And I think it's really one of those things, again, it's situational, and so getting advice to your individual breakup is the best thing. That being said, if you were the one that was dumped, you were dumped harshly at that. There's no negotiation that goes on. I wouldn't even say, please don't contact me. It is what it is. Someone's left you for definitive reasons. You don't like it. There's no reason for you to stick around, chase, call, text, and do those things. So this advice that he's giving is good. And it's tailored towards someone that's getting dumped, right? So a lot of times people say, well, my story's a little bit different. If that's the case, well, like I said, you should contact a coach directly like myself or Corey Wayne. If you went to writemac.com, you could book a session there. But if you really want to get advice based on your situation, then talk to someone directly about your story. This is direct information right now about if you were dumped and dumped harshly. All right, let's get back to it.
But it's like if you're only interested in something platonic, because a lot of women are going to try to keep a guy stuck in friend zone, never fucking agree to that, because you'll never get out of it if you do. Besides, it's not congruent with what you want anyways. You got to be congruent with what you want, what's in your heart. Speak it. The other person's not willing to give you what you want. You walk and you never look back. Walking and never looking back means that you will never contact them again for any reason. I get lots of questions about this. No birthday messages, holiday messages, sorry about a death in your family members, etc. As far as you're concerned, you're never going to speak to them again. It's as if they've changed their number, they moved away. It's almost as if they're dead to you. That's the way you really got to look at it. Sorry to be so blunt, but that's the reality.
That is a blunt interpretation. They're dead to you. I think that's a bit extreme. But his point is dead on, no pun intended, in the fact that if they dumped you, they don't want to be with you. They have definitive reasons to not be with you. You've told them you don't want to be friends. He's 100% correct, because I get this a lot too. Hey, what if we're friends? And always I'll ask them, what's your intention in being friends? If your intention is maybe we'll get back together, no, that's not really friendship. That's sneaking through the back door. It's cryptive, right? So this idea that you're going to send a message for, birthdays, holidays, this, that, or the other, if you were dumped, then no. Don't do that, because, again, your intention is maybe they'll want me back by sending this message, and that's not why you send holiday message or birthday wishes. You don't send birthday wishes to a friend hoping to get with them, right? So, great information here.
Because you guys, well, the birthday's coming up. No, you want them, especially if they're the ones that push you away, you want them to contact you over Thanksgiving or Christmas or Groundhog Day or President's Day or Columbus Day or whatever fucking holiday happens to be. As far as you are concerned, you will never speak to them as long as you live. If you have children with this person, make your arrangements ahead of time so there is absolutely no reason for them to contact you. There must be, and this is so important, there must be space, distance, and time between you in order for an ex or someone you turned off to rethink and regret pushing you out of their life. It must be their idea to reach out to you first once they realize.
Absolutely true. It needs to be their idea. They need time and space to digest and miss you, right? They made a choice. They built a case of why they broke up with you, and they built that case over a period of time, right? With some facts, some assumptions, some reasons. But bottom line is you're not going to talk them out of it in a day, a week, or a month even usually. So they need to come to those conclusions on their own and miss you. Getting back to the one where he said if you have a kid together, then you need to make arrangements where you're not coming into contact. I've had clients before that have had an intermediate, being their mom or their sister, drop off the kids. Now, this is one of those things that gets a little sticky, because how far do you want to go with being tough with your ex that's your baby's mom? And that's up to you. But I would say in the end, when it comes to kids, put your kids' well-being first over the breakup. And I would add too that probably if you have kids, there are certain situations where you don't have to be extreme. And this is why, again, get tailored advice on any of these videos. Your best bet is to spend a little bit of money, get a live coaching session with a coach, and talk about your situation directly. Don't try to shape it into a video, okay?
Realize they are never going to hear from you again. The next bullet point. When they contact you, and this is an if, the only way they're going to contact you is if there's still some kind of interest. In other words, they realize the radio silence that you're giving them means it's probably permanent and they're never going to hear from you again. And if they don't like the thought of that, if they can't fathom that thought, they're going to say, maybe I reacted harshly. Maybe I should give that person another chance. These other guys I've been going with, they're all turning out to be douchebags, and we really did have a good time together. Well, maybe I should give him a call. If an ex or someone you were dating got...
So right there, he's just giving you one scenario, right? That's not what happens all the time, but she starts dating again. She immediately meets a jerk straight off the bat. She has a couple bad experiences. She doesn't like being single. She misses you. She's surprised you're not calling. That's actually a big one also. The fact that you can stay in no contact after being dumped, accept the breakup, is highly attractive. And a lot of times during the breakup, she can see that you're upset, that you're hurting, and she feels deep down inside you're still going to chase her. You're always going to be an option. And when you remove that, that's when it gets real for her, and she has to negotiate the fact, is he now not going to ever get back with me? One of the caveats to that information is if she does see someone else while you're not together, right? That's a big pill to swallow for a lot of men, and a lot of times there's no turning back because they can't let that go. That's for a separate video that I'll do a separate time, and I'll put the link in that below.
Turned off by your behavior, contacts you through text messages, email, Facebook Messenger, or phone calls, and you must assume they want to see you, and this should be your first response. And this is important. This is what the qualification here, especially for guys that are needy, they're desperate, they're looking for any reason. Oh, she's liking my Facebook posts again. Does that mean I call her and ask her on a date? Fucking no way. So they're liking your Facebook posts or even commenting on social media posts does not count as them contacting you. Do not engage in any BS conversation or nonsensical chit-chat when they contact you again. Be direct, be decisive, and go for what you want by saying this. Hey, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together?
Okay, I agree with Mr. Wayne on this as far as be direct. Get a date, talk about meeting up. The idea that you use that same line, hey, what's up? Let's meet up. Use your own lines, use your own jargon, your own slang, your own way of talking, because going into this using a canned expression like that will show. I mean, I'm saying this and some people think, well, that would be obvious, but there are some people who literally write that down and copy it. If you're in that phase where you're copying down things to say that are unauthentic to you, you're probably at a place where you're highly insecure, so you need to check that. Getting back to this, though, the liking the Facebook post is a big one, or commenting on your social media, which this was done 7 years ago, and Instagram and these things are even more prevalent. Absolutely true. Some people get really excited about this. I would call it baiting by a woman or catpawing, in the sense that she's giving you some sort of attention and you feel like, oh, this is my in. It's usually not your in, and you can evaporate a chance of something. If she calls you, she reaches out, she makes a direct line towards you, and a lot of times it's an indirect line. Let's face it, she'll say, oh, I left some socks at your house. Oh, actually, she won't say I miss you, right? And so when she does call you or text you, get into, meeting up. Right? Now, saying that, if you're a type of person that has conversation well, what do I mean by that? You're a conversationalist. You like to chit-chat a little bit. You can get into that a little bit, right? Like, oh, how have you been? What have you been up to? It doesn't have to go straight into it. Like he said, be direct, have a finish line. And I would also add to that, end the conversation on your terms, right? Don't carry on. All right, let's get into it.
I get a lot of guys that I had a guy that did email coaching for the other day. Girl starts contacting him and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, not much. What are you doing? He's like, oh, nothing really. I'm just watching some TV. What are you up to? And it's like went back and forth 4 or 5 times. And then he's like, she stopped responding. I was like, Because you bored her to death. She reached out hoping that you were interested and still wanted to see her, and what do? You're going around in circles. As soon as she reaches out, hey, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together? Be direct, be decisive, get right to the point. Don't dither and dick around, because if you dither and you dick around, she's just going to get bored and she's going to leave. Don't do that. It's crazy. It's a waste. The whole reason by doing no contact is for them to reach out. And some guys think, oh, but I got to talk to her for a little while and warm her up. No, you don't. You've had no contact.
I would say the other part of this is you got to be in a place during the breakup where you can handle if she says no. Okay, this is very important. She calls you up, she texts you. A lot of times I'd say it's over 60% of the times it's going to be a text this day and age, right, in 2022. So the bottom line is, let's say she texts you, she has a feeler here, maybe you have a little conversation, you ask her out, you ask her to meet up. She says, I don't think it's a good idea, or she says, I'm really busy this week. Your response is, okay. Your response is, all right. It's not, oh, you can call me anytime. I've been missing you, this or that. It's an acceptance. It's a neutral acceptance. I like to go with okay or okay, maybe another time, and then leave it alone. But that's really important to have in your bag. If you're going to be direct, you're going to ask her out, ask him or her out in this case. And like Corey Wayne's saying, just be prepared to have it ready. Okay. This is a big one. This is very big, because being prepared for the part where they might say no or they make an excuse instead of you saying, oh, well, I just really wanted to see you, or come on. Because now you're showing those needy tendencies that they saw during the breakup. But the fact that you can accept if they don't want to go out with you, or they're playing a little game of cat and mouse, and you can accept that, you're proving to them that you're not the same person during the breakup that was chasing, that was being needy, that was being clingy, and couldn't accept the breakup. Does that make sense? Put it in the comments.
And now she's reaching out. The only reason she's reaching out is because she's hoping that you're interested and you want to see her, or she may be trying to see if you're still kind of on the hook, so to speak, in case things don't work out with the other guy. It's really fucking important. Be direct, decisive, get right to the point. So once you say, hey, when you're free to get together, you're going to invite them to bring a bottle of wine, coffee, tea, etc., whatever you drink, to your place to make dinner together. You want to make a dinner date, something in the evening. Why? You want to hang out, you want to have fun, and you want to hook up. Make a definite date. Hang out, have fun, and hook up, like I talk about in my book. It's like a
Okay, really quick, you don't have to do the bottle of wine or make dinner together. Some people don't like making dinner together. Some people don't have the place that's absolutely romantic. They have roommates. There's all kinds of things to this. So I would say that you don't have, like he said, it's good to be at night so you can eventually hook up. Some people might be going, oh, well, we don't need to hook up right away. I would say the opposite thing not to do here, which I've had some clients do, is rent a stagecoach, have horses, go all out on this extraordinary date to be impressive and be out of character. That would be a no-no. I would say do something that's fun, do something that's lighthearted, do something that involves conversation, and be creative. And like I said, again, some of the people out there will watch a video like this and go, all right, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a bottle of wine. I'm going to make dinner. If that's not your jam, if that's not what you do, if that's not where you're at your best, right? Or you don't like the place you live at, because that's going to be the scene. Find out something on your own that's creative, right? Or good to you. And if you're not that creative a person, be true to yourself. Because if you're trying too hard, that's usually very unattractive and you're going to come off unauthentic.
first date. You get no credit for your past history together or any past relationship. Do not talk about getting back together, being exclusive, or locking them down to a commitment. It must be their idea to become exclusive again.
This is huge. So if you're in a breakup, they broke up with you, you get back on deck, you're actually out on a date, or they might even say, like, this isn't a date, okay? This isn't a date. They might not say it's friends, but this isn't a date. You just say, okay, right? That doesn't mean you're accepting it. It means you're accepting that they believe that. You go out on the date, you go out on the dinner, and you just have good conversation, connection, things you did on your first date. And what he makes a point of saying here, and I absolutely back this up, do not bring up getting back together ever again. No, I'm just joking. Not ever again. Do not bring up in that first date or that first interaction or whatever they want to call it, getting back together. Do not bring that up. You do not get credit for the fact that you were together for 5 years, 4 years. He's correct. So when you start bringing up old things or trying to get reminiscent, and do not, again, write this down, take a note, especially men, because this is what men do all the time. Do not sit there and ask her how many guys she's been with since you broke up. This is not the time to do that. It's going to trigger you. If she feels like you can't handle the truth, she might lie about it. It just creates an awkward situation because during the breakup, free agent. She can do what she wants. You can do what you want. At some point in the future, maybe you guys have that conversation. But if you bring that up, I've had clients that brought it up. The woman wanted to get back with them. That night they hooked up. The next day he brings it up, and it absolutely destroys the chemistry of getting back together. You're literally starting over again. And some guys don't get that. And he makes a point of that here. You're going out, you're being present. You're reestablishing a new relationship, a new start. And that doesn't involve bringing up the past or getting credit for it. Good point, Mr. Wayne.
You simply need to focus on creating a fun-filled romantic opportunity for sex to happen, i.e. a date. So here's some other situations that are going to come up when you're trying to set a date. They may not be open to it. They may be trying to keep you as a male orbiter, so to speak, or a backup. So when they won't come to your place for a date, if they have contacted you again and you try to make a date at your place, but they won't accept or they counter by trying to get you to pick them up or meet them out somewhere, you must give them this response. It's been a long week and I'm just in the mood to hang at my place. If you don't want to come over and make dinner together, then give me a call in 2 to 3 weeks and maybe I'll be up for something more formal then. On my website, I'm going to have all these bullet points that I'm reading. It's going to be in an actual article with the exact same name as this.
So I'm not sure why he overly insists on meeting up at your place, because I don't think there's a large faction of people out there that wouldn't be an option. And most people, if they were going to meet back up with their ex, would go have dinner or go do some of these common things to meet back up. So saying that this is the best way to do it, it's a little bit closed-minded in that sense. And I don't think a lot of people would say she has to come to my house. And honestly, there would probably be a lot of girls, women, ladies out there that would say, I don't want to go to your place for the first time we meet up. They might not be comfortable with that. And he's saying, be direct. This is what you want. I'm not sure that that's the best route to go because it's 0 to 100, and she might go, well, why do you just want me at your place, right? If you're the type that you have a really nice place and whatnot, and you've spent a lot of time there, then maybe you ask that first. But I don't think that's a deal breaker if she doesn't want to go to your place for the first time you guys hang out again. I'd certainly say it would be nice to end up back at your place. That'd be an option. And I would say that meeting back up, getting each other's space and energy is the first step. What do I mean by that is that when you meet back up with your ex, right, you feel awkward, you feel excited, you feel butterflies. This is a discovery mission. And all this uncertainty that you've had during the breakup is going to change once you meet them because you're going to feel that. And if they're off, if you've been with this person for 2, 3, 4 years, you know them better than I do. You know them better than Mr. Wayne knows them. So bottom line is getting that date and just meeting up and that first approach and being around each other is going to tell you a lot. The fact that you need to be at your house and hook up with them at the end of the night, I would say that's a bonus. That would be a finish line, but it's not a game changer, and it's not necessarily something that has to be done. There are women out there that would want to hold out, that are stubborn, that wouldn't want to take it there on the first day, and I think that's okay, all right? And that's something to read into your situation with the kind of person that you were with. Does that make sense? So, like, again, this is very specific information with getting a bottle of wine, having dinner at your house. I don't think you have to take this route. I agree with some of the other things. You can go out, have dinner, and maybe she doesn't go home with you, and it's still a win. It's still progress, because if you went out and you rebuilt something, that's big. And if they broke up with you, they had their reasons, and you're reestablishing either how things have changed or that you're still that guy with confidence, authenticity, I'm going to come back to that word a lot because that's who they fell for, right? Let's get back into it.
Video if you happen to be watching this video by itself on YouTube or somewhere else. They'll either agree to dinner or they won't. If they won't agree to dinner, then say this: I've got to run, but get in touch with me if you change your mind, and then walk and never look back. When they won't make a date, so you try to make a date and they just flat out say, no, I'm not in, and they leave things up in the air. Since you are always going to wait to hear from them first, and then on 2 consecutive different times when they have reached out to you first, you try to set a date, but they won't, then you must stop asking. This is really important. Don't continue asking if on 2 different times you try to ask them out and they just go, and they just leave it up in the air. Never ask them out again unless they bring it up first. From that point forward, if they continue to reach out to you, you're not going to bring up getting together. If they have contacted you by text, email, Facebook Messenger, or other.
So he's saying ask them out twice, and that's the limit. I think there's specific cases where this might be different. This is why, again, call up Coach Corey Wayne, book a session with myself. Get some tailored advice if you're questioning things. Because what happens is you'll watch 1,000 of these videos and you won't make one move, or you'll make the wrong move. But you got to get someone to hear what exactly is the case with your partner, your girlfriend, your ex-wife, whatever it is, okay? And the reason for that is maybe there's something different or intricate in your particular case where they have a reason that they don't want to see you, okay? So like someone could have had their dog die. There's all kinds of reasons that it could have been bad timing. The most important thing is don't be the annoying salesman that can't take a no. All right. You ask her out. She says no. You say, okay, no problem. And you keep it moving. But on the flip side, if she's contacting you and she's kind of wishy-washy, this is one of those things that you have to feel that out. And you have to know how she is if she's being vague. I do like the idea of you ask out twice and then you leave it alone. Right. But there might be some special circumstances. And put it in the comments below if you think there's a special circumstance that's a little bit different for you. And even if you're wrong, you have to be heard. And that's why, like I say, when you're in these situations of getting in a breakup, this video is a good one. But if you think your situation's a little different, book a coaching session with one of the coaches out there and get some tailored advice. All right, let's get back into it.
Their chat services, you will keep your message responses to 2 to 3 replies maximum, period. This is really important. Don't violate this. There's no reason to chit-chat. Make a date or you're out of there. It's that simple. If they contact you by phone and you're having a phone conversation or you're talking over FaceTime or Skype video or audio, you will keep your conversation to 2 to 3 minutes max. This is very important. When they've contacted you via digital messaging or voice or video means, you will always give them this response when you end the conversation. Hey, it was great hearing from you, but I've got to run. Keep in touch. That basically says, hey, I'm busy. My attention is elsewhere, and I really am placing a low value on.
So just be aware of these canned responses. If you copy these down and use them directly, like I said, be authentic to who you are. That's who they fell for. And there are certain situations, like I said, this isn't going to be the go-to answer all the time. It is specific to if you got dumped, all right, and they don't want to be with you. But you still, I mean, it's not this cut and dry. Just say this, right? You're allowed to say something else. You're allowed to have a longer conversation and catch up and then ask out on a date, right? There are situations. I did have an ex from my past years back, reaches out to me. I was in a really good place. It was maybe a year later. People are going to cringe on that because they're going to go, a year later? Yeah, it was a year later. And we had a conversation for an hour before we met up. But I wasn't pressing to get back with her, okay? And that's the key. If you're not pressing to get back with her, and the ultimate thing is to be in a position where you're not pressing. It's not water in the desert. And then when you have that conversation or they reach out, you're not so pressured. The end thing, he's right, is to get a date, meet up, be in each other's energy, right? But this idea that you got to keep it really short, I don't think that applies to everyone. As long as there's a good flow and a good conversation and you're not being needy, weak, or clingy, or guilt-ridden. What do I mean by guilt-ridden? You did this to me. I can't believe you did that to me. Those are big no-nos. if you're having a good conversation about life and what's been going on and connecting well, I think that you can have a long conversation and then go in for the ask out to dinner. Let me know in the comments what you think.
Talking to you because I've pretty much given up. You don't want to try. You don't want to see me. Fuck it. I'm not interested in wasting another second or a moment of my fucking life. You're not going to say any of this to him, but this is your mindset. You're going to be sweet. You're going to be kind, but you're like, hey, I'm busy. I got to run. Keep in touch. That pretty much communicates that you're done. You're not making an effort. You're not doing anything. You gave them 2 opportunities to set a date, and you're like, fuck it. From that point forward, they will either bring up getting together first, and then you can try and set a date, or they will stop contacting you for good. Next bullet point. This is really important. Let them contact you exclusively. That means 100% of the calling, texting, and pursuing must be done by them. When someone is unwilling to see you, go on dates with you, or give you a chance to start to rekindle your romance, and they have pushed you away, you must let them contact you 100% of the time from that point forward. Very important. This is different from what I teach in my book and how a man should properly start off a courtship. So this only applies when you got dumped or blown off. And
So again, just keep in mind 7 principles to get an ex back. This particular video, it's primarily information for when you got dumped or blown off, right? You blown off. Wow, that's a pun. The reality is this is specific information, not for every breakup, right? And so just keep that in mind. But I really like the mentality if you got dumped, right? And again, I'd like to know how it happened to give you some tailored information. But the reality is you got to get a mindset. You asked out twice. You tried. You let them know that you want to be back with them. You let them know that you're still interested. And then you go, I'm done. I'm done is a very good statement to get your subconscious in, because you get into I'm done. And now you flip the tables. If we're going to get back together, you need to make an effort. And if you don't, I'm moving. And even if you do make an effort, it's got to be a good effort, right? Because you've already shown that, hey, I want to make this work. She says no. He's saying ask him out 2 times. I don't think you have to have that rule in place, but you definitely have to get to a place where you're done. And you're done chasing, you're done clinging, you're done trying to negotiate. Don't be the traveling salesman.
did not agree to it. Very fucking important. Because like I talk about in the book, if you're dating somebody brand new and you never gone out with them, you're going to call them once per week until they start reaching out and contacting you on a frequent basis. And once that happens, you can continue to back off to the point where you're not even calling them or texting them anymore. It's not necessary. If they're calling and texting you 2 to 3 times a week and you're making dates every time they call, you're going to be seeing each other 2 to 3 times a week. There's no reason to reach out. You're a busy person. You should not be fucking around on the phone for useless chit chat, because this enables you to be mysterious. It gives them time to wonder about you and think about you. And women need time and space away from you to wonder about you and wonder where they stand with you. And if you're always in their face, you get in the way of that happening.
I'm just going to translate this really quickly. Don't be clingy, don't be weak, don't be needy. But this is a big one, and guys don't realize this: pity seeking. Okay? Well, yeah, it's been really tough, or it's been this. Pity seeking is big. There's a large faction of people out here that think it's attractive to be victims, to be pitiful. And what he's saying, and some people, they can't get into that space because they're down and out. They're depressed. There's a lot of people that are depressed. They don't like their job. These kinds of things. If you're saying like, okay, I get the information, but I can't do it. This has nothing to do with your breakup and everything with your life and the buckets of life that you have, whether that's the bucket of financials, the bucket of where you live. And so in order to get this information and go all in, sometimes if you're not able to follow the protocol of not calling them, not being needy, not being clingy, not being annoying, and to counter that, the other end of that spectrum would be mysterious, be busy, be on your purpose, chase excellence, be a high value man. I mean, these are the things that these generalizations that get pushed. If you're not there, then you need to work on yourself anyways, right? You need to work on where you're at anyways. Because if you get off the phone with your ex, and let's say they reach out to you and you feel pitiful, or you feel like you were trying really hard, or if you feel sad, you're going to be imposing that onto them. They're going to smell that on you and not want to date you again. And he's 100% correct in the sense that They need some time. They need some mystery. This is like attraction 101. This is a really good time to brush up on some attraction things. If you've been out of the game for a while and you're like, oh yeah, I already know that. Attraction 101 with women a lot of times is mystery, is space, is leaving a cliffhanger from a phone conversation, right? So these are things that are discussed just for attraction overall. And if you're having trouble with it, it's probably deeper than them. It's probably some things that you have trouble in your life as an individual. And that's when you need to go to a coach like Corey Wayne or myself and book a session.
Natural. It must happen some way, shape, or form. So when they do reach out, you make a definite date and then you get off the phone. Be direct, decisive, and get right to the point. No idle chit chat or unnecessary BS conversation. This is the last bullet point. This is a different case. This is if you dump them and you're going, I probably shouldn't have done that. The only time you're going to contact an ex when you are trying to get them back is if you dump them but later regret that decision and want to rekindle things. You will only contact them one time. This is very important. When you are trying to get them back, you will contact them once, apologize for being a jackass, tell them you would like to see them again, and make a definite date. In this situation, it's okay to go pick them up or go meet them for dinner if they won't come to your place.
So again, this is very specific information. If you dump them, you push them away. Apologize for what you feel you did wrong, not for what you didn't do wrong. That's very important. If you feel like this is a big one. If you broke up with someone, because there's a lot of guys that come to me, they break up for good reasons. Okay, they break up for good reasons, and they come back and they're like, "Oh my God, now I'm lonely. Now I'm hurt. Now I changed my mind." If you're feeling that way, before you call them up, ask yourself, is this problem going to change? Her going out with her friends, getting drunk every night, her doing drugs, or whatever it is, whatever the problem is it going to change? Am I just chasing her to come back to me because I'm lonely or horny, whatever, right? You got to get clear on that because you broke up with them for a reason. Now, if you just messed up, you're being emotional and impulsive, apologize one time. You don't get extra points for extra apologizing. Right? You don't get extra points for being sorry or overcompensating by giving them flowers and candy and cards and all those kinds of things. So he's definitely right there. You ask him out one time, you apologize for what you did wrong, you let them know you want to get back together, and if they don't want to, you leave it alone. Again, you don't get extra points for being sorry twice. So I'm going to cut it at that because that's pretty much the end of this video. Let me know what you think in the comments if this was a good video for you for 7 principles to get an ex back, if this is some information you'd like to use, and what would be the number one principle to get an ex back in your mind. Put it in the comments below. Let me know if there's some other videos like this you want me to review, and I'll take a look at them. Take care.